Well, it's that time of year again. You and your buddies get together to watch a holiday movie, and they've decided this year, it's your turn, their Jewish friend, to pick out the movie. Now you say to yourself, this will be a piece of cake. But in the back of your mind, you know. And as the days get closer, pressure starts to build, and you think to yourself, what movie am I gonna pick? I don't know, there's like 3 movies with menorahs in it. What am I gonna do? Finally, the day comes, and all your friends are looking at you and asking, so hey, what movie did he pick out for us this year? And on the outside, you look calm and collected, but on the inside, you're a ticking time bomb. And as the pressure builds, suddenly you can't take it anymore. You run out of the room and rip your clothes off and run into the street and scream, hey everybody, I'm a little boy, hey! And the Secret Service hear about this and they grab you, pull you into a black minivan and drive off, and you never heard of again. Does the story sound a little too familiar? Here's a statistic. 82% of boys and girls 18 to 24 cry themselves to sleep every single night of Hanukkah, and 36% of couples get divorced. Why? All because of holiday movies. For years, us Jews have been subjugated to having to watch holiday movies that involve Christmas lights, Christmas trees, and mistletoe. Well, this year I've decided no more. Because now I've created the official list of movies that you can officially call Hanukkah movies. A list of movies you can finally say to yourself, this is a Hanukkah movie I can get behind. Now, will some say I'm a hero for creating this list? I don't know about hero. Hero's such a strong word. I'd say savior. Maybe I'm your savior, like Jesus Christ. So without further ado, let's not waste any more time. These are the top 10 movies to watch on Hanukkah. Now, I want to make a little bit of a precursor. There are movies I did not put on the list because they did not fit into the criteria that I have. For example, number 1, Schindler's List. Obviously a classic, but I don't want you bawling into your pillow the entire holiday. I don't want you slitting your wrist or feeling guilty when you're shoving jelly donuts and they're all over your face and you're watching this movie saying, should I feel guilty for this? No, that's not the point of this. I want you to look cool in front of your friends, and I don't want you to bum out all your friends. Number 2, Yentl and Fiddler on the Roof. These movies, they're too silly, they're too ridiculous. For lack of a better word, they're too Jewy, and not in the good way. I mean, I've already done a whole video on Yentl describing how all of it is just ridiculous, and it's Hollywood. It's Hollywood Judaism, okay? When creating this list, the criteria has to be there's a level of traditionalism and family rolled into one. It doesn't have this. And it's my list. I can do whatever I want. They're off the list. And finally, number 4, the movie It's a Beautiful Life. Now, I would have put this movie on the list, but unfortunately, I haven't seen it yet. But from what I'm told, it's kind of it's a Hanukkah version of It's a Wonderful Life. I know they're very different stories, but they kind of capture the same essence. So that movie would probably be on the list, but I haven't seen it yet. All right, guys, without further ado, let's finally get into it. These are the top 10 movies you can watch on Hanukkah and impress your friends with. Let's get to it.
Jews play stupid games. Jews.
Number 10. I was going to put The Night Before on this list by Seth Rogen, but the more I remember this movie, the more I remember, hey, this is actually just a Christmas movie. Honestly, I felt a little disappointed and a little shamed. I mean, Seth Rogen, you had an opportunity to give all the people out there a good classic Hanukkah movie. You decided to write another Christmas movie. I mean, shame on you. You bring shame onto your people and shame onto all the little boys and girls that were hoping that year they could bring home a Hanukkah movie to the folks. And that almost made me decide to ban Seth Rogen from this list altogether. But then I remembered another movie that came out about a year ago, and that movie is A Pickle Story, and that goes on the number 10 slot. Now, the story surrounds a Jewish man played by Seth Rogen in the 1800s who falls into a vat of pickles and wakes up in the year 2021, and now he kind of has to reconnect with his great-grandson and kind of show him the traditional ways. Now, to be completely frank, I'm not a huge Seth Rogen fan, regardless of what my face indicates, and I'm not going to say this movie was exceptional, but there were moments that really tugged on my heartstrings. Closer to the end, actually, there's this really nice moment that honestly, it had me. It honestly had me. It really did kind of capture that feeling that I had growing up as a Hasidic Jew during the holidays. By the way, I grew up as a religious Jew. I don't know if I mentioned that before on this channel, but this movie does have a few laughs here and there, and I think if you're a Seth Rogen fan, you're going to enjoy it. And honestly, I put this movie on this list also to make sure that you don't look dumb in front of your friends, okay? You can show them, hey, look, I got a Seth Rogen movie. I mean, you got Seth Rogen, it's a regular comedy, your buddies are going to enjoy it, okay? So you don't look stupid and ridiculous. I got you. Number 9. Now, you can't make a list like this without putting on a couple of Coen Brother movies. Number 9 is going to be A Serious Man. This is if you want to go the more dramatic route. Now, to explain this plot, I mean, it's a Coen Brothers movie, so I don't really know if I can quite sum it up myself, but so I'll read the story off of the Wikipedia page. A Serious Man is a 2009 black comedy drama film It stars Michael Stahlberg as a Minnesota Jewish man whose life crumbles both professionally and personally, leading him to questions about his faith. Now, the reason I put this movie on this list is because it takes place in the 1960s, and it kind of captures the feeling of Jewish traditionalism. This movie is based around a Jewish man and kind of him trying to figure out his faith. And a lot of the scenes involved are him in the synagogue. It captures just enough of that traditional feeling that a lot of Jews are familiar with. So if you've ever watched a Coen Brothers movie, you're going to get a very kind of unexpectedness throughout the entire film. And that is a perfect recipe, and why it's officially number 9 of movies that you can now call Hanukkah movies. Number 8, another Coen Brothers movie, The Big Lebowski. Yes, I'm saying it, The Big Lebowski. Now, why am I putting The Big Lebowski on this? Honestly, I'm not quite sure. It's kind of an intuitive thing. When I was putting this list together, I almost felt like I got this touch from God, this divine intervention that The Big Lebowski needs to go on this list. And I can't quite describe why exactly, but there is just this intuitive feeling I have in my gut. And you know what? It's my list. It's my list. And if you've never seen the movie The Big Lebowski, I mean, how do I describe this? It's about this guy who refers to himself as the Dude, played by Jeff Bridges. He gets himself kind of involved in this whole misunderstanding situation, and he goes on this whole goose chase trying to help out this rich guy who says he's going to pay him if he can find his lost wife. It's a Coen Brothers movie. Just go watch it. Now, before you get on me, I feel like it does meet the minimum criteria of kind of a Jewish movie should. It has a character played by John Goodman who consistently says that he's Shabbos. So I feel like that's the minimum criteria. It gives me a pass to finally put this movie. And honestly, it's about time we take this movie back, okay? It's about time we take a stand and we recognize that The Big Lebowski it's a Hanukkah movie. We've all been feeling this within our heart, and you know what? It finally decides to get the recognition it deserves, and why it deserves to be 8 of the movies that now you can officially call Hanukkah movies. Number 7, The Hebrew Hammer. Now, there's no intuitiveness in this. This movie is entirely for Hanukkah. Now, I actually only saw this movie about a year ago, and I actually did a review on it. You can go check out my channel. This movie is top to bottom Hanukkah. I mean, this is our Christmas story. It stars Adam Goldberg, who is a detective that sees that somebody is corrupting the Jews in his town. I feel like this movie captures the essence of Hanukkah in a way that I haven't seen a lot of other movies, which is the way that I kind of look at Christmas, and I think a lot of people, the perception of Christmas is kind of this pure, beautiful, nice thing. And Hanukkah is kind of like Christmas's younger brother, the one in the corner that's kind of making all this jokes. It definitely pokes fun at Christmas a little bit. You get some jabs in there. It's a win for us, and why it deserves to be number 7. Number 6 is going to be The Great Dictator by Charlie Chaplin. I'll be completely honest, I've not seen this movie in a really long time, so I'm not going to go too into depth about this, but The Great Dictator, arguably Charlie Chaplin's most famous movie, maybe that in modern times. Again, I haven't seen this movie in a while, so I'm just going to read off the plot here. After dedicated service in the Great War, a Jewish barber, Charlie Chaplin, spends years in an army hospital recovering from his wounds, unaware of the simultaneous rise of the fascist dictator and his anti-Semitic policies. This movie kind of came out at the beginning of World War II, and it definitely captured, I think, of what a lot of people were feeling at the time. And Charlie Chaplin, obviously, one of the greatest film actors of all time. It's definitely a heart-wrenching movie that really moves you, and I think I haven't seen it in a while, but it's an obvious classic for a reason. Charlie Chaplin gives an incredible performance, and I think this is a movie that obviously should be seen, and especially seen during the Hanukkah time. This is why it's number 6 on movies you can now call Hanukkah movies. All right, we're gonna get to the top 5 here. Let's get down to it. Number 5, Inglourious Basterds by Tarantino. I mean, how much do I really need to say? You have Hitler getting shot in the face numerous times. That's really all you need. Number 4, Woody Allen. Honestly, any Woody Allen movie. I'd say any Woody Allen movie that involves him in it, and I'd say the criteria would be before 2000. Anything with him in it before 2000, it's officially a Hanukkah movie. I would go back to the classics like Annie Hall, Hannah or the Sisters is a good one. Really any of those movies. If you want to sit down with your family and friends and watch a Woody Allen movie, you've officially watched a Hanukkah movie. So number 3 is going to be History of the World by Mel Brooks. I mean, obviously, you got to put a Mel Brooks movie on here. And I mean, it's Mel Brooks. He's one of the greatest comedic directors of all time. And this is the safest choice. It's going to make you laugh. It's going to make you look back at some of the Jewish history and, you know, make you connect in some ways. I don't know. But it's Mel Brooks. He deserves to be on this list. Number 2, Adam Sandler. Just Adam Sandler. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, you don't really need much more. I know people are going to say, he has a Hanukkah movie, 8 Crazy Nights. Yeah, you could watch that, but again, you can really get a pass for any Adam Sandler movie. Try to do any Adam Sandler movie that has Jews in them, which is, again, that's like half of them. So if you could just whittle it down and try to at least have where he's Jewish, I don't know, the Zohan or really any one of these movies, it counts as a Hanukkah movie. Okay, don't let anybody tell you differently. You know, Adam Sandler has provided us Jews with a lot of Hanukkah content. I mean, you have the Hanukkah song, which is just a classic and one that's consistently sung almost every single year, which is why he absolutely deserves to be on this list. He is a Hanukkah pioneer, and it's official that really any movie that you watch of Adam Sandler will be okay to be called a Hanukkah movie. Now, number 1 on the list of the best movies to watch on Hanukkah is Jojo Rabbit. Yes, Jojo Rabbit. Now, Jojo Rabbit, I mean, this movie is, I'd say, one of the best comedies I've seen in the past 20 years. But that's not just the reason why I put this on the list. The movie is about a little Nazi boy who grows up in Germany during the end of World War II, and he has an imaginary friend that is Hitler. Yes, his imaginary friend is Hitler. This is a pretty wild movie, I'll say that. What I think is so brilliant about this movie and why I love it so much, director Taika Waititi does such a great job in making such a ridiculous and silly concept into not only a great comedy, but into a really great dramatic movie at times as well. I mean, he is so good at balancing the comedy when it's needed and also the drama, and he infuses it so well that they fit so well together. I don't want to spoil too much about this movie, but it is, beside for being hilarious, so heartwarming and so painful at times, and allows you to kind of see things from this little kid who is, at the end of the day, just still a kid. He doesn't really understand exactly what's going on. He just knows that he wants to be this Nazi because it just seems like the good thing, but over the movie, he kind of starts to question everything that he believes in, and it's just a really terrific movie, and I think a movie that is undoubtedly a movie that you can call a Hanukkah movie, and that deserves to be watched every Hanukkah because it is an ultimate classic and movie that I think any Jew should be proud of to be able to call this a Hanukkah movie. Well, guys, I've finally done it. I've finally created the official list of movies you can finally watch on Hanukkah. You're welcome. No more will we need to suffer in quiet desperation, but we now have the official list of movies that you can just show to your friends every Hanukkah. Now, instead of panicking or running through the street all naked, you can finally have a list to go to in order to pick out a classic Hanukkah movie. And I hope that this list will continue to help for generations to come. Thank you so much for watching. And guys, have a happy Hanukkah. Enjoy.